Oh, hello. Oh, okay. We're live. Wow, I haven't done this in a while and I was not prepared. But hi, everyone. Hi, Marlena. Welcome back. And hello, everyone else. I hope you're all doing okay. I'm actually still preparing, so I haven't grabbed my paints and anything. But I did have this beautiful piece. I really love the peonies here. And the nice two roses. And by the way, this is a different type of paper. This is Saunders watercolor paper. So, testing it out. I usually just do arches because I like the tooth of it. And this Saunders is also cold press, but it looks a little bit more like hot press, to be honest. So, hi. How's everybody? I hope everybody is doing okay. I haven't been online in a long time, but now I'm back. Next week I will be going away again. So what happened is I've been traveling a lot in the last 2 months or so, especially for work. I have a work that makes me needing to travel a lot. So kind of every 2 weeks or sometimes every week I have to travel all across Europe. So unfortunately I could not be in any of the days of the stream here, and the other days that I was live I was just totally dead because of the traveling. It's something that is very hard to do. So I think somewhere next week will be my last traveling day, because treasure that drum long, I did put my resignation on, so I will not be working at that place anymore, which is good. By the way, this is how I prepare. I have a bucket of water and I have my watercolor buckets here, and I just put them next to me. I always have the bucket of water because I always need to change water. I always need to do stuff. So yeah, as I was saying, next week will be my last kind of business travel for a while, because I quit the job. It was becoming a little bit too much for me. So I have a number 4 here, and I have a number 3 and a number 5. That should be fine. And I just wanted to spend more time doing what I like, which is watercoloring. So no, doing what I like. I like to do a lot more art, and I like to enjoy a little bit more my life. And now I need to scoop out my watercolors. So this is like the Schmincke Super Granulating, but I'm not gonna use that one, and I'm gonna use this one, which is it says Main Daniel Smith and Schmincke. I have also the Holbein one, which I haven't used in like, man, the Holbein one I haven't used in like forever. And I feel bad for not using it, but this is something I learned. When you have so much watercolors, you end up not using. So let's have a look a little bit of this Main Daniel Smith one. So I have my favorite yellows, which are more like orange yellow, to be honest. Purples, even wisteria, some greens. Like in this area I have lots of greens. There's one green that I'm not really happy about. This is Terra Verde from Winsor & Newton. I think I will change it with a different type of green, because I'm not feeling this one. It's very hard to get even this consistency of color, so I have no idea. Then I have my favorite reds. You can see alizarin crimson, perlin red, perlin maroon, querculum rose. I have my blues that I really like. My favorite blue, which is peacock blue, and then all the lunar ones, moon glow, shadow violet, and so on. And underneath they're the browns that I use. It's funny because I haven't made a video with my browns in a long time, and then lots of neutrals here at the end, like grays and stuff. So I thought I will use this one. It's really cool. I haven't used this one in a very long time, so let's do it. This is how it looks like. I did clean it up, by the way, if you're wondering. I did a cleanup and I filled in the pans. Now they're a bit receding, but that's okay. Okay, and that's kind of it. So welcome. Oh, hi Johan, thank you so much for joining. I hope everything is okay. So I have my paints and I have my stuff here, and I have my paper towels. You always have to have paper towels, man, like always. So this is what it's gonna look like. By the way, before I start, I wanna make a video of how it looks like. So you guys are gonna see me trying to prepare for some reels. Okay, 7 seconds is enough. Life nowadays is all about reels. So this is kind of how it happens. I even forgot to ask if everybody can hear me, but I'm just assuming that everybody can and will. So we're just gonna assume that everything is okay and everything works okay. Okay. I am hearing myself somehow. Okay. It was like double hearing. I will start. Why did I wanna use this palette is because I haven't used it in a long time and I kind of miss it, and I wanted to do something like that really stands out. So I wanted the first one, the peony here, I wanted to have like the really yellow orange kind of color, right? So this will be like my main one, and then these ones will be like with the purples and the blues, these two, and then these two I'll consider later on which one I do, but let's start. Which one should I do? I should just do the number 4. Number 4, I feel like it's an in-between one, so we're gonna be fine. I haven't painted in like forever, by the way. So, what can I say? Word of advice or word of anything. If you don't paint for a long time, it can happen. It doesn't work very well. So, the first question I will have is, I will do the orange. I'll do the orange at the tips of the petals and the red to the other sides. Okay, so my cats are kind of starting to wake up, but yeah, and oh, I forgot to put the chat open so I can see. Okay, Johan says sound is all well and good. Okay, good. So favorite red being alizarin crimson. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's my favorite red. So we're gonna start painting it. And by the way, this is also me trying out this new paper. This is Saunders Waterford. I know I haven't used it before because I don't know. I always thought I wanted to save it for some reason. I thought it was so. I sometimes have this feeling that it's like, oh, it's a too good watercolor paper and I don't want to use it and stuff like that. So I will use it now and I'll tell you how it is. So far so good. I do not think what I'm trying to do now is see how long does the watercolor stay wet and how long do I have till it dries out, and whether or not it creates, you see, on arches you wouldn't do hard edges. So I'm just putting it through the bases and I'm already seeing that the watercolor gets absorbed way too fast into the paper. It's not a bad thing, it's just a different way that you have to think about watercoloring when this happens, and it's a different way of using your colors, because you have to be much more faster, and there are some things that you cannot do. So this is why we test. So I actually, what I did is I got and I drew on all the papers I have, I drew a design, and in this corner here I labeled like which paper it is, because once you take it out you don't remember, and I thought I will just do you see, hard edges I'll have to cover up, but I need to let it dry before you can even do it. So what it tells me, like my style of painting, I will have to do it very slow. Okay, Johan says I follow. Yeah, Deet is already on my desk, so I'll make typing difficult. Thank you. Deet is my cat, and she just woke up, and I think she really likes to spend time on the blanket in front of her daddy. My cat is making it weird. So, by the way, the colors I'm using are alizarin crimson and nickel yellow, azo yellow. Really nice yellow orange, so kind of the colors go well together. See here? It really creates hard edges because the color gets into... That's why I said that I wanted to try this one. What happens is this. When you have cold press, the tooth of the paper, and especially like with arches and so on, the tooth of the paper is preventing it from drying out too quickly because it's going to sit a little bit on top, right? But since this is, even though it's cold press watercolor, somehow the tooth is gone, so it's very fine cold press. And normally for different type of watercolor techniques may be working okay, but for the stuff that I do here, it can be really hard because it acts like almost like a hot press, and I hate hot press. And the reason why I hate hot press is because you have to use a lot of water and a lot more layers, because if you don't, then it just gets absorbed very fast into the paper. So that's why I don't use hot press that much. Hot press, you would have to do 10 million layers to get the intensity of the color. And to be honest, when you're thinking about people like me who have a job and don't have the entire day to play around with watercolors, then it becomes really hard, because hot press can give you really nice results, and I agree with that. I mean, I love hot press, but it takes like triple the amount of time to do anything on hot press than you would take to do on cold press. On cold press with 2 layers, I'm done. Hot press usually takes me at least 5 layers or so just to get the intensity that I want. And it's nice for things that you want to be transparent. It's nice, like some people like it because it fits their style of watercolor, and that's fine, right? If you have that style of watercolor, it's fine. But what I do, like this illustration process kind of thing, it's not really very well suited for that. Okay, I think I bashed this paper a lot. It's a really nice, wonderful paper. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna be fine. I am curious how the colors will do once it dries, because what happens is especially on hot press paper, when it dries really matte and devoid of any color. So I will be very interested to know how it dries. So this kind of tests are really important. And remember, there's no such thing as the best watercolor paper, or it really depends on what technique do you want to do on it. Definitely, okay, we're not talking about the really cheapo things, but if you're talking about these high-end brands, they all have a place and they all have certain techniques that you can do better on than others. So I give you one example. I used to hate initially, when I was young and restless, I used to hate the Moleskine watercolor notebooks. Why? Because the paper was curling. The style of and it was, the water was going everywhere, and yeah, you couldn't control much. So I was really hating on that paper. I couldn't do my style on that paper. But when I started doing like really loose watercolor on it and not so much control, then it's perfect, because it gives a lot of structure and you can do fun things with the water because it has so many grooves, and the paper buckles slightly. So it really depends what techniques you want to do, and then I think you can find the use for that watercolor. I now use the Moleskine ones for the cool stuff that I do with my leaves and patterns. Like when I want to make a pattern with leaves and stuff, like just freehand leaves, not a drawing, then I use that one, and it's perfect. Would I use it for this type of flowers and for drawing really precise on it? No, it's not gonna work. And I know it's not gonna work. So yeah, that's the thing with paper. So although I wanted to make a video about like the best watercolor paper and comparing it all with each other and so on, it really depends on the style of watercolor you're doing. Like if I would be doing like the Danica Sills ones, which she does really nice backgrounds to her pieces, to her, you know, girl designs. I think hot press watercolor is working perfectly for her, right? Because she does like millions of layers. She has like lots of layers after layers and layers after layers, and hot press is very good for that. It really keeps the transparency, and you know that works. So who would I be deciding what good watercolor paper looks like for? Because definitely not. I mean, I could say a very long title: the best watercolor paper for modern floral in watercolor with illustrative. I don't know. I don't know how I would call that one. That'll be fun. Okay. The reason why I'm using a number 4 is also has a nice tip, but he can also handle these tiny petals here, which I kind of need to go in between. So, yeah. Will I be using this watercolor paper some more? Yes, because I would hate for it to just stay there and get broke because I didn't use it. But I will have to see what are the good I don't know what are good projects I could do on it. I think loose watercolor would work very well on this. So, because then it will dry in very weird colors. Okay, so far so good. I'm liking it. I'm just gonna let it fully dry, the middle one, because okay. Johan asked a question: is watercolor paper not depending on what technique you have and style you have? Yeah, it is very highly dependent. So you would use different watercolor papers and different structures per style. So it depends what you want the water to do. I'm using watercolor as a coloring medium. Then that means I need a lot of control, and I need my paper not to absorb the watercolor so fast, because I'm really in the stuff that I do, right? It's really important. So that means for me, cold press and wood tooth, cold press wood tooth is the best, right? Now, if I would try to do loose watercolor, you need something where your brush glides very easily, because you're going to have a brush with lots of water, you're going to glide. If you're going to do loose watercolor on cold press, then it's not going to glide as wood, and then you're going to have these streaks that are not very nice. So you would use either hot press or a paper like this, which is cold press but has very fine tooth, right? Definitely I wouldn't use like a rough paper for loose watercolor. Now, rough paper, it's really nice as well for this type of things, but again, you need to learn how to do it, and then you also need a little bit more different layers. I think rough paper works a lot for, I saw it for urban sketching or stuff like that, maybe not for flowers, because flowers are pretty delicate as well. So it's really a balance, right? And like sometimes I notice like loose flowers can work very well also on the ones that is not 100% cotton, which is really funny. Now, which one should I do? Let's do this one. I'm going to use the yellow, and I'm going to use the potter's pink. Yeah. This one will require more layers. So and I'm using some ultraviolet violet here. So 3 colors for this flower. I start with the yellow, pink. Potter's pink is really nice. Has a nice granulation. And then I really need to do a second layer afterwards, because I need to go in there and do the individual leaves separate. But as the first layer, that's okay. I made a small little mistake here, and I'm going to add water and try to lift it. Okay, so this paper lifting is easy. I'm not gonna lie to you or anything. It's pretty easy. Just wet it a little bit, then dab it with a paper towel. It's perfect. Okay, cool. And then the other one is gonna have a little bit more. This is a smaller one. A little bit more ultramarine. And then we're gonna go into the nice blue. Let me see, some peacock blue. Oh, yeah. Maybe I did too much. Okay. You know, what happens is when you have a favorite blue, you're using it everywhere, even if maybe it doesn't really fit. That it'll fit, I'll make it fit. You just need to add more water and do some stuff that are. And if you're wondering, do blue roses exist? Yes, they do. So don't stress on it. Okay, nice. But the point is, the main flower is so overpowering that no matter what I'm gonna do here, it's still gonna look very well. Now, I need to decide on this peony here and this one. And I need to decide, what should I do? There are two thoughts. I could go with not so colorful one, or I could go with a lesser red. This is hard. This is really hard. Don't worry about these two. These will, after they dry, I'm gonna do more layers, so they're gonna start to be in the same line as this one. But these two, maybe I'll do the moon glow. Yeah, okay, moon glow, lunar violet. So that they will be these two. Oh, lunar blue, lunar violet, moon glow. So moon glow is this one. Why? How do I know this? I'm watching this paper here, and I'm counting the the naples there. No. Let's try this one. Okay. Okay, and I'm thinking I really need to brighten things up here and there. So I need the potter's pink, especially here on the tips. Okay. And I'll do yellow in the middle. And some of them I'll do much darker as a petal. But this will be just the first layer, so I'm not too worried. Okay. That is like that. And then the other one. Man, this is so hard. And because I did this one so like out there. I'm just wondering what I could do. Any ideas from the people online? Any ideas what color combinations should I do? I could do the permanent magenta and pink. No, that's gonna compete with this one. I am being attracted to this middle, like the buff titanium, Naples yellow, things like that. Ooh, what did I do? You see, don't start with the biggest flower there, like the biggest one, like super orange there. Okay, I think I need to do something low-key, so I'll try lunar blue. Lunar blue with buff titanium. Let's see if that works. Yeah. It's gonna be more cold, so notice that the flowers around the big red one are more blue tone, and only the big red one is warm, which is okay. So lunar blue. Oh, I love the lunar blue. That reminds me that I didn't use the lunar blue for what it should be used for, making moons. Johan says, remember the crazy colors we were seeing at the Floriada? Oh yeah. So we have the Floriada here in my city, and the Floriada is just think of it as a show for flowers, right? So they show all sorts of flowers from all sorts of places, and man, some of those flowers had really crazy colors that I like. Even my phone, I couldn't make proper pictures with because it was so saturated and so funny. So indeed, I wouldn't say that any colors are crazy. I would say that there's quite a lot of colors that work well together. I made lots of videos, so now that I will not have to work that much in, let's say in July, I would actually have time to edit all and to make some nice vlogs. I wanted to do the really awesome vlog from Edinburgh, because that is really the most awesome place I've been. And then I had a couple of vlogs for the Floriade, where we go and explore some really cool flowers, like really cool flowers. Because, man, what I've seen then. Oh yeah, I remember the craziest ones were these purple ball flowers. And we didn't know what they were, but they were so big and it looked like such an alien landscape. And it turns out they were onion flowers, and you go like, what? Onion flowers? Why? How is that even possible? So don't worry. Or they were called ornamental onions, and you go like, how is that even a thing? Ornamental onions. But apparently it is. So yay. I made some really nice shots of them. Maybe we will draw them. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna have a nice contrast in the middle. It's gonna bring the warmth back, because you lose the warmth with all of this. So yeah. And now we're gonna do the second layers on these ones. Okay, let's start with some Perfect Potter's Pink. I'm going to paint really carefully in between the petals, those parts where it will be darker, not the petals themselves. Let's see if that works out. Yeah. Perfect. And then we're gonna go with a darker yellow and do some fancy stuff here. Some fancy stuff here. Now I'm realizing I really missed drawing. Don't know why. Don't know why I stopped, but I think it is also to do with the job you're in. Like, majority of us do have to make a living somehow. And to be honest, some things just tire you out. Like, for me at least, they really tire me out. And yeah, I need something that is closer to what I would like in a job. Is I don't mind doing it as long as I get some time, some energy at the end of the day to do also this one, because this is actually technically what gives me energy, right? So yeah. It's really nice. Okay, I will do a second layer there. Now let's do the peacock. Peacock blue is one of my favorite ones. Favorite blues. Don't know why I didn't use it more before. I was always struggling with blues, to be honest. I always struggled, and I almost never used my blues because I hated all the blues until I found some of the blues that I like. So the moral of the story is, don't get discouraged. You will eventually find some that are perfect for you. I wanted to initially I was struggling with, like, everybody was like Prussian blue and cerulean blue and all those, you know, default blues that everybody's using. And those blues are not for me. I just cannot stand them. I just don't like the colors. They don't represent me at all. And it gets you discouraged a little bit, right? When everybody else is using, you see all online people using it. and you're thinking there must be something wrong with me that I don't use blues or I don't use stuff, you just have to find those blues that fit you, I think. And blue is a very hard color to fit anybody. Like I know a friend of mine, she doesn't like purple at all, like no purple. And it's fine. It's just fine, right? It's a matter of preference, and we shouldn't be needing to stress ourselves over it. That's why, let's say, my palette has advanced over the years, I would say, into different things. I started with totally different colors on my palette, and that's because I was trying to emulate other people. So don't try to emulate other people. Not worth it. So not worth it. Okay. Dun dun dun. I'm loving how the colors stayed like this and how the colors dried out. Actually, don't need to do a second layer on this one. It's amazing. So pretty impressed with that one, I have to say. I'm pretty impressed. Let's do the leaves. And finally I can use my greens on my main palette. Man, the last time I used this rich green gold, I missed you. It's so weird. It's so weird that you're talking about colors that you missed. It's like some colors that I missed by using other. I mean, all the palettes that I have are wonderful, and I love to use them. You just have to find the time to actually use everything. Okay. And then you have the undersea green, which pairs very good. The way I put my greens on my palette is two colors next to each other, always that work well together. So, for example, rich green gold with undersea green, they're next to each other on the palette. That's because I would always use them together. So, yeah, that's right. Or permanent green with hooker's green or with May green, they look very good together. Olive green with jaded, sap green look well together. They're close to each other. So I use like the darker color on the base just to make it a little bit more standout. I remember my first big piece that I did, and I only was using one color to do all the gradients. Funny, but nowadays I changed my style. Yeah. And what's the main, if you are asking what's the main difference between like my main palette and my other ones. My other ones are a lot of handmade watercolors, and they are beautiful and super granulating ones. And I couldn't do without them. However, why do I call this one my main palette is the handmade ones and the super granulating ones can be a lot more opaque. Okay, so being more opaque, that means like it doesn't have this transparency. So you use it for different type of projects. And my main one is the one when I'm needing the transparency. And yeah, that's it. That's the main reason. If you're wondering what I'm doing now, I always just paint the leaves that are the same color at once, because it makes it easier to concentrate on one single color change. And I always draw one leaf too many. I should always not do anything even on the leaves, because otherwise I always have leaves of the same shades next to each other. For some reason I like symmetry in my leaves, but I never managed to do symmetry properly. Never mind, we'll survive. And the second type, I don't think I want olive green, because olive green will look like this one. So I think I will go for let's go for the permanent green, May green. So it's pretty neon-y green, but it's okay. When you add permanent green, it's gonna temper it down, because permanent green really dries out really matte. So that's why it's very important. Again, I did a small boo-boo here, and I'm going to tap it off. Maybe at the end of this video we're gonna try to do some cool stuff, like I have some new watercolors, but they're metallic, so I needed to try it on black watercolor paper. So maybe we'll try some there. Okay, notice this is the permanent green. It's gonna be really nice color mixing. These two work very well together, May green with permanent green, and it's gonna dry interesting. These ones are the one greens that I really need to do second layers of, so it's okay. Would I consider May green? Yeah, May green is pretty opaque, by the way. So if I'm putting it over the black, you can notice that it can get pretty opaque, but it has a tint of yellow underneath, which is making it nice. So if you put enough water, it's gonna look really nice. Then you do permanent green. These two, by the way, are two greens that are from the same set. No! No! What did I do? Okay, first let's do the leaf before it dries, and then we will try to leave the color there. I dropped my stuff. This happens a lot, people. This happens a lot. You dropping your pencil with makes me so sad. Okay, now clean water. Unfortunately, you know what happens is I had permanent green, and permanent green is a really staining green. So there's not much I can do about it, other than covering up with white. So know your greens. Like if it was this green, I could have lifted it up easily. But this, unfortunately, this green, you can't lift. It's because it has blue in it, and blue, usually any blue colors are very staining. So you watercolor too less. Yeah, man, makes me so sad. It's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out. I'll add some white gel pen or something. We'll be okay. But this is what happens. Like if you have the misfortune of dropping, like if it would have been even the red, that's not staining, and you could have lifted it up and then nobody would have been the wiser. If you are unlucky and you have either blue or green, majority of them are very staining, and then that will be like goodbye white. So yeah, now what I want to do going forward is have more time to go out and about and get inspiration from all the places I'm going to. You know, visit the sea, visit a lot of the stuff. Hence, I will have some set times during the day where I go biking or I go out. And I plan to actually go out most of the days. I know it sounds weird, but that's why you need to look for the job that supports this kind of behavior. So I'll be fine. I found out something very funny, that in the Netherlands, I'm not talking about any other country, if you have your company open and you are a creative company, so let's say you're an illustrator or whatever, you can expense as business expense, so you don't have to pay tax. You get tax back all the places that you go visit, because it's considered that you go there and you get inspiration. So you can get inspiration out of everything. You go to the to the zoo, you go to the botanical garden, you go to a city, because you know, you can say, well, I'm learning to do urban sketching and I need inspiration. Even networking, like going out with friends and so on, that's considered networking, because you need to have your network alive. And even sitting at a cafe, because you're watching people, and it's very weird. So if you didn't know that, now you know. I'm going to do some secondary permanent green here. I miss using permanent green. I haven't used permanent green in like so long, because I haven't used this palette in so long. Man, I should have used the dusk colors. If you're wondering if summer has arrived, yes, summer has arrived here. It's not maybe the summer that you're expecting, but it is warmer than usual. That's what we call summer. It's a lot of thunderstorms as well, but it's nice. And now I'm doing a second layer here as well, just because there's a big leaf. Okay. And I'm almost done here, so we can go to the other parts. Yeah, I'm really liking it. Let me see. So now we'll start doing my witchy Halloweeny designs. I really want to do some Halloween designs and some witchy stuff so I can reopen my shop. So I have my shop that I will reopen soon, and I want to have some more Halloweeny witchy stuff, which is gonna be cool. Okay, I think I'm done with this one. I think some of them... Okay, let me just add my... I always add things like dots and stuff. Okay. It's not fully dry, so that's why it looks a bit weird. Yeah. Okay. Not everything has to have one. And then that's about it. Oh, Marlena says it's awesome and the colors are gorgeous. So that's the question. We are now 1 hour in. Do you want to see me try out the new colors that I had? The new metallics? Do you want to see some metallic watercolor kind of tryouts? Or we leave that for the next live stream? What do you guys say? You can go ahead and tell me. Because I don't mind either way. I'm just going to put these ones aside. These are really nice, man. I don't know exactly where I put them. Ah, here I put them. Here I put them. And then of course this one's... No, nobody's asking, nobody's wanting. Okay, it's okay. We're going to stop the stream, and then I will do a separate video next time, where I go through my new sets, my new awesome sets, and then we're gonna use them. Yeah, but thank you so much for staying with me online. I mean, I know I've been gone for a long time, but it's going to get better from now on. And we're going to have some more fun coming periods. I'm really liking this one. I really like the middle one that is really so standing out. But anyway, that was about it. Thank you so much. Bye, Marlena, and bye, Johan.